Alright, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Reality. Now, today I'm going to be talking about when is it okay to use martial arts or to justify violence. Well, before we go on to the actual physical training module, you guys need to understand this. And again, it's another one of these things that if you go to a commercial martial arts school or an MMA gym, is most likely not being explained to you. Well, the only time, and I mean the only time, that it is justifiably necessary to use violence is when your life is being directly threatened, somebody is assaulting you, and you are facing danger to serious injury, loss of life or limb, or you are protecting a loved one from about the same thing. Now, there are extrapolating circumstances in which you may need to intervene in some kind of assault. You might see somebody who's being robbed and beaten or carjacked, violently carjacked. You might see a woman who's being sexually assaulted. And unfortunately, these instances of violent criminal behavior are happening more and more with increasing frequency, which is why if you are an adult male or woman, it is absolutely necessary in today's America, in today's modern day and age, that you must have some kind of minimal level basic proficiency in martial arts. It's absolutely necessary. Violent crime is happening more and more, and you never know what could happen. You could just be minding your own business, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, violence happens. Well, I've got news for you. It's happened to me, and it can happen to you. I've had people try to carjack me before. I was violently assaulted in an intersection one time in my early 20s. In my mid-20s, I was assaulted violently by two men on the street. I was a victim to a breaking and entering at one point where three men broke into a house that I was living at. And I had to hold these guys at gunpoint until the police got there to intervene. And looking back on it, I probably could have shot them. It was justifiable. And that was what the police officer said when she got there. I've had people try to assault me. It's one of these things where, unfortunately, if you are a victim of circumstance and you find yourself, poverty-stricken or lower class, because the middle class is all but extinct at this point. You're either poor or you're rich. There's really no in between. In either case, you have to develop proficiency with unarmed combat. Now, there are other situations that you can walk away from. Like if somebody disrespects you. If somebody pushes you or they threaten you, or there's other circumstances where somebody may challenge you to a physical fight. Well, those are all situations that I refer to as a mutual combat, where if you engage at that point, you are consenting to whatever happens at that point. And you could be facing legal ramifications. You could go to jail. You could get hurt or hurt somebody severely. You could be killed. You could even kill somebody accidentally, especially if you have this kind of training. So again, now that you guys are starting to train with me, if you face one of these conversations where somebody is challenging your ego, you have a moral and a legal obligation to de-escalate the situation and walk away. But again, be aware of your surroundings as you do so. So again, I'm going to beat this into your fucking head, because you could be sued and anything could happen. The only time that you are justifiable in the eyes of the law to use these skills in a self-preservation situation would be if somebody is violently assaulting you, you're being carjacked, you're being robbed, and even then, give them what they want, unless you are in fear of your life. Okay? If somebody's violently assaulting you, if somebody tries to violently sexually assault you, and it can happen to men too, believe it. It's all in the news all the time now. Some guy just got sexually raped in a subway car in New York City. Also, if you're going to carry a weapon, be aware of the laws. Know what you're doing. Know how to use it. Know how to deploy that weapon quickly. Be trained. Be aware. And again, when these things happen, the ramifications of your actions are going to be subtly in the back of your mind. So you want to know exactly what you're doing. I can teach anybody how to punch and kick with the utmost efficacy. But you have to have self-discipline, self-control. You have to be dedicated and a highly motivated person to learn this stuff. And I think it should be requisite training for every kid before they graduate high school to have some kind of proficiency in martial arts.